Good morning, all. Please let me know if you can all hear me. Good morning. Hello, can you all hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hi, all. Can you hear me, everybody? Hi, all. Can you hear me?
Yes, morning.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning. Morning.
Yes, sir.
If you wouldn't mind, can you kindly mute yourself, please, everybody? That would be lovely. Thank you for doing that, everyone. We're just gonna wait a little bit and see, like, if we can admit a few more people, because currently we only have 14 delegates right now. Just give it like 2 or 3 more minutes, then we'll kickstart. Whilst we're waiting, by show of hands, can we please let me know who has heard about Qlik or Qlik Sense or Qlik View before? By show of hands, please. Anybody? As anybody? Thank you. Thank you. One person. By show of hands, can you please let us know who has heard about Qlik, Qlik View, Qlik Sense before? Okay, we'll take it as one person. No, that's not bad. I will continue to. 2 people, Francis. Thank you. Colade and Francis are the 2 people that have showed their hands that they've heard about it before. That's all right. Let's kickstart. So, Qlik as a whole, they have 2 products, which I would only focus on Qlik Sense today, but then at the same time, I would briefly show you what Qlik View is if we do have time. Our agenda today, it's very, very brief. Like I said, it's just a demo and with just 3 bullet points. One is just to quickly discuss what Qlik is all about. And I'll quickly make differentiation between the Qlik View and Qlik Sense. Just so that you're aware, Qlik View is the older brother, as I used to refer to it, and Qlik Sense is the younger brother. Now, Qlik Sense, being the younger brother, is very, very clever, much more clever than the older brother. Also, we have a quick look at Qlik Sense itself. Let's see in action. And then we take Q&A from there. And we'd sort of finish from there. So moving forward, what is Qlik View? Qlik View, as I said, is the older brother, and it's more guided analytic tools. So we're talking about the BI tools in this space. What I meant by that, or what Qlik meant by that, is when developers develop Qlik View application, A lot of people, some people might like to call this application a dashboard, but we developer like to refer to it as an application. When we develop it, we put a lot of thoughts into it. So we develop it in such a way that is guiding the users on the next step to do. So for instance, we might say we want to see when you launch any application, say for instance, you launch your sales application right now or sales dashboard. The first thing you will see there is usually your KPIs. Your KPIs defined how the company or the business is performing as a whole, depending on what we want to look at the KPIs. And from there, we sort of like give you kind of an hint on what next to do. So we say, okay, from that one, you can move to this, and then you can do X, Y, and Z. But when we're talking about Qlik Sense, forgive me, I'll go back to Qlik View again. There is one thing which is very common to, amongst a lot of other things, common to Qlik View and Qlik Sense, and that is called the associative engine. Now, whoever decides to go on a journey with learning Qlik Sense would fully understand and appreciate the power in associative engine. It's very, very unique to Qlik. A lot of modern day BI tools are copying this, but they still can't grasp the concept of it fully, i.e. Power BI, Tableau, and all the likes. Now, when we talk about Qlik Sense, it's the most powerful and complete solution for BI. And what do they mean by that? It means you can explore freely your data. You can actually see what's beneath your data. If I'm saying, for instance, what's my sales looking like in, say, for instance, in Liverpool, then I can see what it's selling, what it's not selling. And whilst looking at what it's not selling, I can equally drill down and look at the contributors to that. Why isn't it selling? So we can say that, okay, age-wise, we know that these are the people that are really, really buying it, and these are the people that are not buying it. So it gives us a variety of options then. As we know that, can you please mute yourself, please? Thank you very much. As we know that once we know and we look at our data, then we can take actions. And that's the more reason why we have these modern day BI tools. They guide us on making decisions. So looking at Qlik Sense gives you the variety to be able to drill down, deep dive into your data sets and look at what's selling, what's not selling, and take action from there. And as we also equally know that the buzzword in this modern day is the artificial intelligence. So all this has been packaged into Qlik Sense. And that's why I mentioned earlier on that it's the younger brother, but it's much more clever than the older brother, Qlik View. So with that, then we can, in Qlik Sense, we can then say that we can start to include things like, or use web technology tools like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And you have all the libraries as well these days. We have your D3, you have your Python, you have all sort of libraries that you can then implement in Qlik Sense. And it makes it really, really powerful and flexible to you to learn and to use. Also, part of the reason why it's very good is because you can then develop on your app on your phone as well. So you have your iPhone, you have your Samsung, all these things you can develop on a go and then release into production. Now, I'm not going to take your time today. As I said, it's just an hour. We'll probably go through demonstrations and all the rest, and then we'll take questions. Let's just have a quick look at how this works in practice then. Okay, just so you're aware, when you decide to learn Qlik Sense, right, before now, Qlik Sense desktop, as you're looking at what I've opened up here. By the way, I believe you can all see my screen. If you can't, just message and I'll redo it again, but I think everyone should be able to see my screen, okay?
I'm seeing the PowerPoint.
You're still seeing the PowerPoint?
Yep.
Okay. Can you see my screen better now?
Still the PowerPoint.
Still the PowerPoint we can see.
Okay, that's fine. Let me know if you can see my.
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Sense
Yes.
desktop. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate your feedback. So, as I was saying, before June this year, Qlik Sense desktop used to be free for everybody and anyone, right? But then Qlik decided that it cost them so much to be able to deploy new, because what they're doing, they're deploying new functionalities rapidly, like every 6 months or so, every 3 months they just deploy. So it's costing them a lot to be able to deploy to desktop and then deploy to the web. When I say web, then I have the Qlik Sense cloud base as well, which whoever decides to go forward would be able to enjoy that as well. We will go through that. So what that meant is they can now give you a 30 days free desktop version, which you can download and use. And if you do wish, you can request them to extend it a little bit. Now, if you decide to go on this journey with us going forward, we would provide you an environment which you'll be using to learn. And even after we finish the course, we will still give you some time as well to be able to practice and learn. And as people do need more, we would give them the ability to be able to use the Qlik Sense desktop as well. Now, when you download the Qlik Sense desktop, there are some free applications which will come with your download, i.e. Executive Dashboard and some other ones as well. And those are just for you to be able to look at. So why is Qlik Sense very powerful? Why is it easy for anyone to learn Qlik Sense? Now, the reason is because you as an end user, you don't really need to start with, you don't really need to know how to script at all. You don't really know how to kind of write your if function and some other functions in Qlik. It's as easy as, okay, I want to create just any dashboard. So I'll then go to create a new app and then give it a name. So I can say ITIL Upskill just for fun. Okay, say Qlik Sense Demo. And then just your enter button will say, and then we want to open the application up. Doing this will bring us to, Ola, would you mind just muting yourself, please? Thank you. Whoever needs to mute themselves, please kindly mute yourself. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you. Right. As I was saying, it will bring you to this interface. Now, we can see two separate sections. I say two separate sections in the canvas here, I meant. One says add data from files and other resources, and the other one says script editor. Now, we're not going to cover the script editor in details today, but I'll just give you us a flavor of how easy it is to get started. Now, I've got some data that I've downloaded from various places that I want to use as today's demo. Now, I've got these cells. Now, easily, I don't know how to program. Somebody told me that, okay, you can use Qlik Sense easily. You just need to drag your files and drop it onto the canvas. So I want to do the same as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on my file and drag it and say, and we can all see it says, drop the file there. So I'll just drop the file. I don't know anything, but that's what I've been told. Now it's initiating add data, and that's the power of Qlik Sense. Now we can't really do that in Qlik View, to be honest with you. And I'll just, I'll just make it clear up front. But there's some other ways as well which we can use that in Qlik View. Now I'm going to deliberately make a mistake here because I want to show you something here. I'll leave the selection. So let's just go through the panel quickly. On our left hand side there, we have various selections which we can use to connect to various data sources. I'm not going to go in details with that right now. Coming down here, we have now the file that I opened up has a various tabs. Now this is coming from Excel file. I'll just open it for us to be able to prove the point so that we can see it. And if anybody needs me to slow down, to explain something again, just feel free to let me know and I'll do such. Now, as I was saying, we have various tabs here and we can all see them. And those tabs are being brought into Qlik Sense equally on this left-hand side. But the ones that we want to really look at is this sales data. And I did mention earlier on that I'm going to make a mistake deliberately. And the mistake is I'm selecting categories as well. Okay, I'll leave it as it is. Now, what I wanted to do here is this. Because I don't know how to program, but I know that somebody's told me I can do various things. Now, let's look at some of the things that we can see here. Now, the file has been brought in, is an Excel file. Now, the file format was identified automatically by the engine, Qlik Sense engine itself. And it says, all right, I can see that the file that you've dropped onto the canvas is Excel file, so I'll make it known as that. And then the field name here, which are all these fields name, has been identified, and this way we can see it as it is. Now, one thing that I want to bring to your attention is we can decide, if I want, I can say no fields, right? And it would just leave it as that. Now, there are times that you get some files that the headings like sales number, sales date, product ID are far down below in the Excel file. Some accounting data sets are like that. Or maybe they've used pivot table in Excel to be able to give us the data set. So the headings could be here. In such instances, what we need to do is to say, okay, embedded field name, and then we come here, it says add a size. Then we start to say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to whatever number we can find the headers there. But in our instance here, it's so easy, it's just on the first row. So we leave it as such. The other thing that I might want to do here as well, maybe for instance, this data set contains data up to 2020. Maybe for instance, sorry, delegates, can you please kindly mute yourself, please? We would appreciate that. There's some feedback coming from one of delegates. Thank you. So maybe we want to ignore any data set from anything before, say, 2012, or maybe we want to start looking at it from 2016. How do we do that without having to write any code or any scripting at all? Up here, we have what is called filter, and I believe majority of us will be used to using Excel, and we know what filter is all about. So we can use that filter, and again, without having to write any script in this category. Now, we know that these two are the files that we've brought in, but we're not looking at this category to start with, because I did it deliberately so that I can show you something else as well. Now, I want to focus on the sales data, but I just want to bring in a particular data set, which is anything greater or equals to 2016. So I can say, well, the sales date there, and I want to say greater or equals to, and I can say maybe anything like that, maybe, I don't know, 2016, right? I'm happy with that, right? So let's just have a quick look. We say 2016, 21st, that's fine for us for now. Okay, so down here below, two buttons, one here says data profiling. What does that mean? What that means is it will look into the data and say, all right, I've got this set of columns here, which we called field in Qlik Sense or Qlik View. What are they? What are the data type? Are they strings? Are they texts? Are they numbers? And it will profile such data sets for us. We're always advised, if we're using drag and drop as our programming, to always leave that data profiling on. That's enabled, because that would help us going forward. So we leave that section. All we want to do is we just want to add the data set. We click on that and it goes away and it brings the data into the Qlik Sense for us. Now, as I said, I don't need these categories table. I can easily click on it and then click that delete button below there and say, yes, I don't want it, delete it, and it goes away. And I just want to focus on this. Now, there are a lot of things which I can start to do here as well. Down below here, we have the edit this table button, and we have this as well to reload. Maybe after I've done a couple of things, I can reload. as I performed the function earlier on or action earlier on, I deleted the table. We can equally delete this if we want. We remember that we've filtered these data sets down. We want to look at anything starting from 20th of January 2016. And equally so, we can see it on this left-hand side, say that's what's happening. So anything from 2012, 2013, 2014, they've been ignored. And we're just focusing our data sets on 2016 onward, right? So that's where this has come in to clear the filter. Now, if I want to open it up and say, I want to look at all the data sets, I just need to click on that button and then I'll clear all the filters and then it will bring everything back for us. Now, here are some other things. Right now, a majority of them concatenate or join, synchronize scripts table, they've all been disabled. We can have a look at the view details, which is pretty much nothing really. So, well, what else can we do here as well? I can decide to edit this table. And these are the reasons why it's so easy for us to start to appreciate the power of Qlik Sense, because you're not programming anything right now, but then I will take us to where we can see all the script that's been generated whilst we're performing all these actions. For fun, I might want to, we can unpivot if the data set that we're loading is pivot table, we can unpivot. I can add a new field. These are calculated fields, right? I can add that. So say for instance, for fun, I just wanted to create something else. I want to say, I don't know, maybe I want to say sales figure or something like that. I can then say here, which I would do some other expressions later on. I can just say here, I want to, right here, this is a function. There are various functions that we can use here. And here, this is the fields. And here, these are the operators like your addition, subtraction, division, and all the rest. But here, I just wanted to look for the fields that I sales quantity here, that way. And I just wanted to say, you know what? I'm just bearing in mind, I'm just creating this for fun, multiplied by, I don't know, maybe, let's say 0.2 or something like that, right? And we can easily see, this is the preview of what we're gonna get. Easily like that, then I can just say create that. And what would happen is it would then create that field for me. Now, on the fly, without having to write too much script, with just a basic knowledge of my data set, I've been able to just, expand the data set that I have. I've been able to perform some actions like filtering, like creating new fields. And, depending on the business requirements, you can start to generate more data. Now, I'm not going to go into too much. I'm not even going to touch what's below here right now. Whoever decides to go forward with us would appreciate, and we'll go through that later on. Okay, let's say I'm sort of happy with what I've done so far. Let me kind of take you to these two buttons at the top, associate and the table view. Now the table view is quite easy. I'll just show you what the table view is just showing in table view. Now we will learn more and appreciate this associates later on in a few minutes. Now, I'm happy with the sales data as it is currently. That's fine. But I equally have some more other data set that I wanted to bring into this application. How do I go about and do that? We know that I've dragged and dropped the data set onto the canvas, but there are some other ways as well which I can bring the data set into this. One of them is by clicking on this Add Data Plus button. If I do this, it will take me back to where I can navigate to my dataset center or location and then bring in. This is a manual entry, which means I can type in I can bring in fields, just typing it in. Maybe we want to rename UK to United Kingdom. I can do that by going through my manual entry. We're not going to touch on that today. I've just explained that quickly, but when we do proceed with the course, we would go into much details equally. I can navigate to my computer and then look for the data set. And here, data content, this is just some Qlik. So Qlik has packaged a lot of data. Thank you. Jojo, Jojo, would you mind just giving your phone first, please? Jojo, thank you very much. So Qlik has done some research. They've done a lot of data set that they've cleansed and understand and packaged very well, i.e. weather, also currency conversion as well, and all the rest they're there. I'm not going to go into that right now, but I want to show us how we can equally bring in another data sets like into this application. So I can click on my computer because I've filter, I've gone through, I've done a lot of things. So he identified where most of my data sets are, which is in there. I might want to bring these other details in as well. I'll just click on that and that comes through. Right. Equally, this has been identified. Luckily for us in this instance, we only have one tab, which is other details. That's the file format has been found as Excel. The field name has been identified. The other thing that we can equally do here as well is maybe, for instance, I don't want to bring a particular field or column into this application. Let's take a look at this as well. I don't want GP. I probably don't understand what GP is. I do know that's gross profit, but I don't want that in this instance. I don't want to bring it in. That's fine. Okay, I can leave it as it is. I can then say, you know what, add my data. That's been done. But I remember that I wanted to, instead of me particularly not bringing that GP in, as we can see, that's been ignored, is not coming through here, but I want to create it myself. Okay, I can then click on edit this table. I can then say, you know what, add calculated field there. What's the name of that on this right-hand side? Add calculated field. What's the name of it? I can say it's my gross profit, like so. What do I want to do? We remember earlier on, right, that we had here we have functions, here we have all sorts. Easily I can say, you know what, all I wanted to do is my sales minus my gross profit. That's what I want to look at. So I can just say there, you know, minus my another field, like so, and that would give me my gross profit. Now, bearing in mind that the calculation might be different, or so, let's just agree to disagree, for different companies, or the calculations that you might want to perform might be different. But in this instance, I just want to make it nice and easy, and I've just created that easily for us. And that's just there, as we see. This is the new table, this is new fields that we've created. Now, there are various things here which we can do. If I click on that, you know, I can then say, oh, I want to rename this. Maybe I want to rename it as cost of goods sold, cost of goods, or whatever that is, you know, as you like. That's that. I might want to say this is, instead of saying discount in full, I might want to do it that way. Instead of having the quantity, you know, you can do all sorts with this. Also, you can say, you know what, in my analysis, I want to hide these fields. So when I'm doing my calculation in the UI, I don't want to see this field quantity in there. I can select that option. I can sort it. I can view the details if I like. But, you know, for our demonstration purpose, we're kind of fairly happy with what we've done so far. So I just want to kind of load the data sets as it is. Everything loaded, fine, fair enough. I still want to remain here because I haven't actually finished. So I mentioned earlier on that we're going to actually look at what this 2 is. Now, I've shown us what the table is because it's just showing us the data set that we brought in table format. What is this association all about? Now, Qlik, I mentioned earlier on when we're going through the PowerPoints that the associative engine, which is the most powerful thing in Qlik, amongst other things, is very, very powerful. Now let's start to look at it. On this right-hand side, if you can see here, we said it's written recommended association. We have 2 tables. Yes, we have table order details and we have sales data sets there. And unassociated tables are 2, which is these 2. Then they found out there's a recommendation for us, which is 1. Now, what is that saying? Now, if I click on these data sets like this, I can see that, I can see this, yeah. But if I then say, all right, fine, fair enough, I want to join those 2 tables together, and this is what we get. So it means that we can then associate these 2 tables together if we like. Right? Now, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to say, you know what, leave it as it is. I want to select this and I want to go back and, you know, look at what I've done earlier on. I want to delete, you know, remove the filtering that I've put in place. I want to bring all the data sets in from 2012. I want to bring them in because that's what I want to do. All right, then. So, you know, you can then start to see if I select this sales data, what is the other details saying? It's saying to me that there are associations between sales data and other details by using that sort of like orange kind of saying, oh, I've got some friends in between these two tables that we can associate them. Let me try and pause here and explain maybe in a very layman what the association is all about. So if you say we have two buildings, building A and building B. Now, in building A, we have their family name to be good. In building B, we have their family name just, you know, for fun to be bad. But one of the family members from building A has now moved into building B, and because of marriage, let's just use that word, and then reproduce and have multiple children, maybe 10, for instance, you know, they're a very, very happy couple. They just go for it. So they have 10 kids. Now we can then say from building A to building B, we now have an associate, which is the family member from A that moved to B has now become a part of the B family, but also retain his relationship with building A. So it means that if we then go for, let's just say maybe the female that left from building A to building B, and we connect that to the building B, we can then see the relationship there. Say, okay, we have a relationship to building A from building B. And that's what this is all about. When I do this and say, there are people that belongs to sales data and other details there. And when the recommendation came for us and say, here we have, you know, we have one recommendation is this instance, we then select that, right? And that's their selection. That's their join. We can deselect it if we want. But in our instance, we just say, you know what, we're happy for that to happen. We keep it as it is. Once we've done that, I can then reload the full data set and then say, fine. And I say, data was loaded successfully. That's great. We're happy with that. We have various options that we can perform right here. We can either close this down, close this view down, or we can say we explore the insight. Now, the insight is another thing as well for us, which is part of the AI, which has been brought into Qlik Sense. Now, this AI that has been brought into Qlik Sense is not there in Qlik View, and these are some of the differences we have. Well, I can decide to go for that, or I can decide to just edit these sheets. Now, what we wanted to do, to be honest, is just let's take a look at what these insights can do for us. So I'll just click that for fun. Now, doing that, I now open up this canvas for us. Can you please mute yourself, please? Thank you very much. Ola Jobi, would appreciate that if you can mute yourself. Ola Jobi, can you kindly mute yourself, please? Thank you. There's some feedback coming through. Whoever is Ola Jobi, please mute yourself for us, please. Thank you. I just did. I think I should be able to do myself. I can't do it, but please mute yourself. Okay, so I'll carry on. Now, we have various options here to be able to, so what is the insight? Let me just quickly give us like a few definitions, or just break it down. Insight in this instance, look through your data set. You remember I said earlier on that leaving the data profiling enabled would help us in the future. And this is where we can use this. Now, what this means is the insight look through your data and gives you in return the best visualizations that can represent that data set. Let's look at it in action, right? What I can do here is I can just say, you know, I don't know anything right now, but somebody told me if I just click on the generate insight, some visualizations would show. Now, let's just do that. So this is what they're talking about. Now we can see that we have various KPIs. In our case, we can see 2 KPIs. And if I start to scroll down, I can start to see that, okay, my sales by order details or order IDs. Okay, so how many sales per order ID? I can start to see sales over sales date. And this is, you know, timeline that we can go into. Whoever decides to go forward with us, we understand and appreciate this power more. So this is what we're talking about here, right? This is what the insight would do for us. It would go ahead and then generate visualization for us. Now, these functionalities, you can't find it in any more than BI tools right now. And this is why Qlik, or QlikSense, if you like, is being considered one of the best modern day visualization tool, because it has so many functionalities and kind of easy for us to get started with, if you like. Now, so let's say I'm sort of like happy with what I've seen so far. I can say, let me just focus on this a bit more. So once I click on the expand, I can see a lot of things here. Maybe, for instance, I want to change this measure. I don't want it to look at the quantity. I just want it to focus on my sales, so I can change that. And look at that, 1.79 million. Wow, that's great. Okay, I'm happy with that. What else can I see here? I can exit the full screen. I can stop editing. I can equally add it to a sheet. We'll look at that. I can download that. In this instance, it won't make much sense because it's just going to come up with that. So let me add it to a sheet. So I'm going to add it to my new sheet. That's done. Come out of the expand view. I can see at the bottom here, it says my new sheet. That's been added to it. Okay, I'll leave that. Maybe I want to kind of look and see if there's more that I can add to this. Maybe no, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe I equally want to bring in one more data set. In this instance, let me bring this in, drag and drop. You can see freely, easily, drag and drop it in there. That's it, done. Because this is a CSV file. I'm pretty sure we know what CSV file is, comma separated. Now, fine, fair enough. How do I know what the delimiter is? At the top here, I can see that after each field's name is a comma. Great. File format delimited, fine, that's fine. And here is the delimiter. I can then expand it and say it's comma, and I'll just click on that. And voila, there we go. In this instance, maybe I don't want to bring address in. I just have to deselect it, and that's it, done. Right? I can then say add data set. Now back to this associate again. And if we then look, we're being given recommendation as well. We're saying on the right hand side, 3 tables, one that is not associated with the rest of them, which is the customer details. We're fine with that. And then 1 recommendation. You know what? We've been through this before, so we're happy for it to join itself. That's done. I can then load my data set again, pretty much like we've done before. Okay, we can go back to our insight if we like. This is it again. And we can say generate for us. And it will go away. Think about it and come back with so many solutions. Because in our the last file that we loaded, we have some longitude and latitude, which is being used to generate map. There it is for us, easily, nicely. We don't have to do too much. A table here for us, you know, things like that is there. Okay, a lot of good visualization being presented back to us. Like we did before, we equally want to expand and focus on this map, if we like, you know, good. Okay, we're happy with that. All right. Well, we can add it again to that, and we're going to do that and then come out of the main one. So we now find that it's 93 contact names. Good. Excellent. You know what? I just want to clear this. I don't want to see this anymore. What else can I do? If I select here, that particular field, it goes away and generates a lot of visualization for me based on that as well. That's fine. I can equally ask question here. I can say, Daniel, I can say sales, you know, just type anything and then sales like that. do that again, and it goes away, and it brings back that for us. Okay, enough of that for us. We want to kind of come out of this. We want to go into our sheet proper. This will go perform its own things, come back. There we go. Those are the two kind of visualizations that we pinged into my new sheet. Now, we can say, fine, fair enough. What do we want to do here? We want to say here, because this is KPI, it doesn't really make much sense. We know that we have data sets ranging from maybe 2012 to 2020. I might want to decide and say, you know what, based on what I've been told, I want to focus more by showing the KPI, because KPI doesn't have much meaning if it doesn't focus on something else. So I might want to say these I would teach whoever goes forward with us. I might want to say my sales year kind of a thing. That's not coming through right now, but I can say fields there. This is it. Right. Let's look for the year. Okay. Put it in there for us where that equals to 2020. So we're focusing on this year. And we say, this is our sales for this year. Now, I might want to change this and say, you know what, I'm just looking at current year sales. That would change for us, like so. We equally have the second KPI that we can add to this. So I'll click on that and I'll say, you know what, I want to see my sum of sales. Apologies, I just started first. The same thing I want to focus. So we did the current year previously. I might want to focus on this time last year. So say 2019 in this instance and see what this sales is like. Okay, we know that that's fine. Now, I want to rename the label so that it's much more meaningful. I'll say previous sales, and that's that. But truly, we might not want to show you this way. We might just want to show the variance, like as it dropped, as it picked up. In that instance, I can then say, all right, what I wanted to do is to say, right, my sales, so my sales for 2020, right? And then divided by my sales for 2019. Okay, let's just look at that for now and say, what do we have there? Okay, we have something. Now we want to format these minus 0.2, and we go for number formatting on that and say number formatting, and its percentage. We can see it's a minus 2%. So we're saying that we're better off last year than this year, current year. Okay, maybe that's fine. Okay, I can leave it like because of our time. I can also say I want to kind of bring in some more visualization. This is a table. I can say show me by what country. I can say add dimension by city, and I can say measure as well. I would just my measure. I want to look at my sales. So sales sum, now sum. And how do we differentiate if we have to use sum or count? Sometimes in the requirement you'll say how much. We know what we're going for, sum. How many, count is what we're going for. So we've done for sales, and I want to go back and do measure. So I want to say my measure this time around. You know, this is just for fun. I want to look at my quantity and all those things like that. So this is it. Okay, let's say we're sort of happy like that. I can click on done. And apologies, this doesn't look great right now. This is just because it's demo. I can go back and say I want to kind of rename some of these in a better position to say this is just my sales, so that it's more user friendly. And I can say here, this is my sales quantity. Okay, so that's that. Now, for us to be able to make selections and drill down and all the rest, we can do it directly in the charts, as in the objects that we have there, like the table one or the map. But here, I might want to give the users the flexibility to be able to make selections easily and put in the country there. I might also want to add my city to that. I might also want to say, what else can I add to this that would be of a good selections to users? Sometimes they might want to see the other ID as well. Let's also look at sales year and all the rest in there. So that's the year. I can bring that in as well. Now, let's rename this. It's quite a long, lengthy name. I can delete that easily and just say this is my year. So that's that, easily. All right, fine, fair enough. I'm done with this. You know, some visualizations can still come through, but I'm done with this. I just want to look at my 2015. How am I performing? You know, that's that. Now, this would not change, but there are ways where we can change it easily based on our selections. Whoever goes ahead with us, we'll show them how to do that. So I've made selection in my year. I'm looking at 2015. I might want to say, you know what, in that 2015, I want to look at the USA, or I want to look at France. And this is how easy I'm making selection. Now, the other thing that you can see as it's happening, as I'm making my selection, is when I make my selection in country, you can see my map start to zoom in. And that's based on the power of the association that exists in Qlik. Now, briefly, I can easily show you some other things as well that would help us. So if I click on this one here, here I want to be able to identify these IT also demo here easily, like all these ones. If I want to be able to identify, here it is. But how can what can I do here to be able to identify it? Now I can say I want to change the image that has been displayed there. So I've kind of preloaded IT upskilling image here. It might not be the right one, but we can use that for now for our demo purposes. And I can write description here. I can say this is a demo for delegates, you know, whatever. Just write. Just type whatever the description you want to put there. And I'm happy with that. I can just click on my done. Now I can save this and I can then refresh here as well, if we like, refresh. And I can come back here and I'll call it refresh. Refresh here as well. Come on, refresh, refresh, refresh. Okay. So if I look for it, it hasn't brought that in yet, but once the refresh is taking place, it would bring it easily for me. And I'll see the image as we go on. I'll be able to show us once the refresh is taking place. It still hasn't done right now, but it would take place later on. Anyway, easily for us, this is how we can go about it. Let me show you one of the, what's it called, that has been preloaded demo application has been preloaded to see how extensively we can use these Qlik Sense, like description, that one there, which will come up later on. And I'm just conscious of the time. I don't want to waste our time. So here we are. These are some of the applications that's been developed, preloaded KPI dashboard. We can see how they are. Now, let me quickly talk about this storytelling. Now, in Qlik Sense, you can then develop like your PowerPoint. So say, for instance, you find some insights that you want to share in a meeting that you're going to. Instead of you kind of going about and say, oh, what page, what sheet number, that this is, maybe it's on different sheets. You don't want to be doing that, but because you want to be slick and smooth when you're delivering your presentation in the meeting, you can print those type of objects and then have them in your PowerPoint. But instead of separating it in different PowerPoint, you can have it in a storytelling in Qlik Sense. And here it is. This is how we do it. So you can then start to play and say and talk about Jojo, please, can you please mute your phone? Jojo, please mute your phone. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. And then we can start to say, fine, this is a low margin sales for this area and blah, blah, blah. This is where we're kind of not performing well. This is where our margin target is. Judy Thurman and all the rest are not meeting the target. And then you can start to go forward like you're going through your PowerPoint. But now doing that same thing in your Qlik Sense application without coming out of it. So it still give you the privilege to be able to go to the sheet. Now, we want to go to the sheet where that image has been taken from. Bearing in mind you're doing all of this in your Qlik Sense in storytelling as well. You can go straight to it and you can start to show them, all right, this is what we're talking about. We can start to drill down to look at it, and the functionality still remains the same. Now, without wasting much time, because I know that people might have questions, and I'd like to stop there. But there are still many more things which I would like to show. Quickly, before I forget, all the things that we were doing earlier on, loading the data sets, performing some filtering and all the rest, how can we see what we've done, even though I've cleared most of them? But here is the scripts that's been generated for us whilst we're dragging and dropping those fields, whilst we're doing a lot of manipulation and all the rest. I'm not going to go into details with most of these things, but these up to here are scripts that we didn't write, but was generated for us by Qlik. And these are the tables that we loaded in, the files that we were dragging and dropping. You remember when I was creating the sales fig field? So this is the action that I performed in the UI, but this is how it's been generated for us in the script. Equally, when I changed the name of two fields, one from discounts to disc, cost of sales or whatever to cost of goods, and when I was generating my gross profits, you can see how easy it is for us to start learning how to code in Qlik by just dragging and dropping. And some other fields as well, which has been generated. I mean, some other thing which has been generated for us here. I'm not going to talk about them right now. I'll just leave it till when we have more delegates to go deep into it. And it's so easy to start learning Qlik. This is one of the reasons that Qlik is very powerful and has been considered as one of the best BI tools out there right now. Most of the functionalities that you have here that is easy, like your selections, in Power BI, because I use Power BI as well. In Power BI, they've just now released the ability for you to be able to see your selections. It wasn't there before. And these are some of the things that makes it easy for us to be able to use Qlik. I appreciate that I've talked a lot. I appreciate that most of these things might not right now make sense. And I want to leave the platform open for questions right now. Any questions from anybody? We only have 8 minutes, so questions.
Hi, Gabriel. Francis speaking.
Hi, Francis.
Yeah, hi. When we started, you said you left some data there that you said you left it intentionally to show there's going to be a mistake somewhere.
Yes.
And have we dealt with that, or did I miss that?
Oh, yes, Francis. So we did actually. So what I meant by that is when I loaded the, this is the wrong one. I'll close that one down, not to confuse us. When I loaded the application in, when I drag and dropped, there was one of the fields, tab, which was category that came into the application as well. I didn't want that, so I just left it in deliberately, and then I deleted it eventually.
Okay.
Yes, I deleted that table. Like, what I can give you an example. Say, for instance, I this customer details table, I don't want it anymore. All I have to do is select it and click on the delete button at the bottom here, and it would delete that table completely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's all right. You're welcome, Francis. Any other question?
This is Kolade. My question is
Hello, Kolade.
Hello. Are you able to tell us the job prospect of this training, for example?
Yes.
Having completed it.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me also share my screen to the point that I can, let's see that one. Generally, when you go to, if you like, job serve, job sites, job whatever, but the best way to do is just come to Google, and then click sends job, currently, because of the COVID and all the rest these days, most of the jobs, I wouldn't say all of it, most of it is now being remote. So we can start to see that we have a lot of jobs right now. So we can then click on that. You can say, don't mind the Peterborough there. That's where I live. That's why it's there. So we can start to see some of the jobs out there. Now, some of them will require you to have some other skill sets that is not it's just good to have, like SQL coding. Now, when they refer to SQL coding and manipulation, that's because you'll probably be connecting to database. Now, don't take this too serious, because you might not have to do anything with databases as well, because some DBA guys will do the heavy lifting for you. And all you have to do as a Qlik Sense or Qlik developer is just to connect to that data source and bring the data in to Qlik Sense. So like I was saying, these are all the jobs. Some people might like contracting, so you click on contract, and then you see currently, because of COVID, the rate is down, but there are other jobs as well which are paying like $550 onward and things like that. There are other jobs which are inside R35. There are some which are outside R35, and you can just click on them as you like, and then read what they're saying. Click timeline, da 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 da. You just be able to do things. Now, when they're saying ETL is, I'm pretty sure most of you would have heard about ETL, extract, transform, and load, where your extract is when you connect to your database and then bring the data in. Equally, your transform would be where you're applying the business logic in the scripting part. Now, like we did when we're calculating various fields in our demo. And these are some of the things, some of the jobs that you find, and, good rates. COVID had spoiled things recently, but still pretty good rates as well. They talk about Qlik Sense Architect, where you have to do things like API. These are quite advanced. When we have delegates, we can move into that aspect as well, teach delegates how to be able to use the Qlik Sense API, which would be very good for us to know. And anyway, these are some of the jobs. Most of the things that you'll be able to see is manipulate data, be able to connect to various data sources, understand them, and all the rest. And easily, these are all the things that we would cover. Now, I've just used a flat file today, but when we go into the course in more details, we would be able to connect to various databases. Thank you, Kolade, for that question. Any other questions from any delegate? Any question? We have 3 more minutes. We can take advantage of that timing.
Hi there, Jodo. This is can you hear me?
Anytime, yes, I can.
Okay, that was a good question from Colade, because I wanted to ask something like that, but maybe I can still ask you my own, because I'm still trying to wrap my head about this. So this skill that is demo, is it more or less like in data analytics?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're showing developer, it kind of confuses me a bit.
Anytime, your voice is great, but it's not clear.
Okay, I think something is wrong with my laptop, so I'm going to put a message there so someone else can ask while I just write something in the chat box.
Okay, that's great. So someone else can ask question, and I'll read out Anyton's question. Okay, there are questions here, I think. There's one question from Ayo. How long is the course? Oh yeah, you can't talk because it's okay. We're intending, we haven't finally, finalized everything, but we're intending that probably it will be about 10 weeks course. Okay, and what's the difference between Tableau and Qlik Sense? Now, Tableau is great. I've not used Tableau before, but I equally work with some guys that have used Tableau. There are a lot of differences. One of them, which is quite evident, is that associative engine and your ability to drag and drop your files in there as well. Now, one thing that is common to both is you can use different libraries like your D3 and all the rest, but there are other differences, which I can go and give the audience the differences, and I'll paste into the chat. Someone from iPhone said, how essential is Excel skills? Now, Excel skills is not that, you don't really need it apart from some of the transferable skills that you can have. If you if you've been able to develop anything in Excel, you would have used your if function. And equally, if you've been able to write a VBA code in Excel, you would have appreciate the power of your loop as well, which comes in here as well. Those are some of the fundamental programming skills which you can transfer into Qlik. But if you don't know anything in Excel, you don't really need to bother yourself as such, but you will pick up. Now, the question from Anyton. I just wanted you to compare data analytics to Qlik developer, right? One thing that I would like us to know is, you see, these days, they just, they give this fanciful name for all these roles, right? Data scientist, what is data scientist? Data scientist is someone that knows different technologies and all the rest altogether, to be honest. But there are some other things they do. I'm not going to discredit them, but that's just a fanciful name they've given to them. Now, data analyst is someone that analyzes data. And that's what we're doing in Qlik. Now, the only difference why we start calling it a Qlik developer or a BI2 is because we then go beyond just analyzing it by bringing the data into the user's presence and then helping them by guiding them to make decisions, because we provide all this analytics for them to make decisions. What is the point of just saying your sales is down in Liverpool but is high in London, when they can drill down and make decision and say, all right, so maybe if we then give some incentive to teenagers in Liverpool, we might be able to increase our sales. That's what being a BI developer is. You bring the data to the decision maker to be able to think deeply, guide them using their data to make decisions. That's the difference. As regards to being a Qlik developer, it just means that you're developing an application. The same way we can have Excel developer. Now, when they talk about Excel developer are people that can write VBA scripts and do a lot of things. I hope that answers your question, Anyton. If at all, if it doesn't, please, on the group chat, you can just ping me and we can have a separate conversation. Now, Welly says, how much is the cost? Now, we're still discussing, we're having an internal discussion because we're going to be having various platforms as well that we're going to be using. So we'll be able to tell everyone how much the cost will entail. Any other question? We've gone over our time, but I don't want to deny questions. So if we have questions, either type it in or unmute yourself and ask the questions for the next 3 minutes before we finish it. Okay, whilst we're waiting, I'll just use that time to quickly show you what Qlik View is all about, just quickly. I know we've gone past our time now. This is Qlik View, right? It's got that V up there, and it's not as great. It is very good, don't get me wrong, but some of the functionalities that we have, drag and drop, we can't really do that in Qlik View. Quickly, oh, can't see my screen. Who's that? I hope everyone else can see my screen right now. If not, let me reshare it. I know what's happening. Bear with me. Okay. Can you all see my screen now? I believe everybody should be able to see it right now. Yes, thank you. Okay, so this is Qlik View. Let me quickly just show you a couple of things. So I've just automatically generated data, some data sets in Qlik View, and this is how it is. So we can click reload here, and it would ask me to save it, which I'll quickly save. Let me just do that for time's sake. And the data has been brought in. Now that's it. This is it. And to be able to, with Qlik Sense earlier on, I was able to drag and drop each object like the table filter panel onto the canvas. But here I have to right click on my mouse and then go to new sheet object and say I want chart. You see the difference is there. And I can quickly say, this is my dimension there. I want to use that dim one. And here I can say, some expression 1 or so, like so. And I can click that, and I can click finish. There's some other things we can do. Now you see how this is. This is our Qlik View in a nutshell, really. But once we go into into the course proper, we'll be able to look at Qlik View in more details and see the differences. They have the underlying infrastructure, but in a UI perspective, they're kind of different. Thank you everybody for attending this Qlik demo. I really appreciate you spending the time with me. Any more other questions, please feel free to ask on the forum. And we do have the Qlik Sense group as well. If you want to be added to that, that's where most of the conversation will be taking place and when we're going to start the course. Thank you very much, everyone. Yes, we will be looking to share this video with everybody. I will have a chat with Kolade and then we'll be able to share it. Thank you, everybody. This is where we've come to the end. Thank you. Thanks for the time. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.